Hi and welcome again to Textbird Talks. So I'm here at the New York Exploring Realities conference and I'm here with two filmmakers to talk about their experience, Queerskins, a love story. So how did you develop this concept? Tell me about it.
So I'm Ilya Sizlak, and this is my longtime artistic partner, Cyril Tsiboulski, and we developed this project, which is about a young gay physician from a rural Catholic Missouri family who dies of AIDS in 1990. It's in part based on my own experiences as a physician. I still work part-time, basically, we've done online interactive narrative for a while, and we got a grant from Tribeca Film Institute to adapt the online narrative called Queerskins, a novel for this for virtual reality. So that was a real challenge to sort of take a narrative that I was very familiar with and then transfer it into this spatial medium. So in this experience, you're seated in the back seat of a car behind the parents, the grieving parents of the man who's died, and you take this sort of magical realist journey through rural Missouri to the cemetery where he's buried, and you get to know who this man was by interacting with a box of objects that you find in the car, and it's a box of archival, historically accurate 3D scanned objects, photographs, and a diary. And so in this experience, it was really important that we allowed the visitor to really use their imaginations to construct who this guy was, not telling them how they should think about him or how they should think about his story. And it becomes a very emotional process for people because they really are important to creating this experience.
Now, a lot of this seems like, you know, and I think this is also part of the medium, is that you feel like an eavesdropper in the experience, because on the one hand, you're hearing the conversation of the parents in the background, but you're also rifling through this person's this person's objects. So how did you craft that narrative? How did you come up with this kind of interaction?
So again, we wanted to create an experience where the visitor really had to use their imagination to develop the character. So on the one hand, we give agency to the visitor. They're allowed to use their imaginations and also use their own history, their own experiences to create that character. So one person might have a very different relationship to, say, a statue of the Virgin Mary than another person coming into that experience, and that's going to influence how you think about the character of Sebastian, the man who's died. On the other hand, we wanted to really limit agency to make you feel helpless. So a lot of people have said it's being in this experience reminds them of being a kid again in the back seat of a car where their parents were fighting and they couldn't do anything and they couldn't leave the car. So there is really a sense of helplessness, and that was important given the story that on the one hand, you know, you have the ability to sort of have this very unique, magical almost experience, but at the end of the day, you know, the man has died, he's not coming back, and you are stuck in this car experiencing this very emotional journey. So that kind of helplessness was really important to put into the story.
And at the end, do you feel that the person walks away feeling closer to the man and his relationship with the parents? What does the viewer walk away with? What kind of feeling do they?
I think that I mean, generally the feeling is, you know, it's a very emotionally intense experience. It is not telling you how to think, how to feel, so it makes people, and it doesn't make you play a role, so you're very, very personally close to the experience, and yet it's incredibly familiar, this feeling of being rejected by your parents or being misunderstood by your parents, and then also this experience of loss that the parents are going through. It's something that everyone can understand, whether or not your story relates to AIDS or to being queer, you're still going to experience that. Everyone's had that story in their lives, and so the response has been for people when they get out of this experience is to, I think, have empathy for the parents and for the man who's died, but in a very natural way, because it really is something that they are not told how they need to feel about it.
I think that's one of the real strengths of VR, is that it is a very, very powerful medium, and so it really does establish connections in a way that really couldn't be created otherwise. And you've crafted this so beautifully. And so I wanted to compliment you, and I also wanted to highlight some of the accolades that you've received from so many different sources. I see official selection for Tribeca, Geneva Film Festival. I mean, it's really been a very powerful international response to what is a very powerful story. So thank you for joining Texture Talks, and yeah, peace out.
Thank you.